Hello everyone, Ron here from L.T.L Tutoring Central, and if you're looking for tips and strategies to help with your learning, you are in the right place. This week I'm talking about independent and dependent clauses, not Santa Clauses as in the picture. I often talk about independent clauses and dependent clauses, especially when I'm discussing sentence structure and writing. And sometimes people are not really sure what is an independent clause and what is a dependent clause. Well, the easiest way I think to think about them and differentiate them is to look at the word independent and dependent. So independent means that if you think of an independent person, for example, it's someone who can manage his or her own affairs. We all need help once in a while, but basically an independent person can live on his or her own and do well. A dependent person is someone like a child or maybe a very old person or someone who's ill, who needs assistance, who is not currently able to do well on his or her own. So they're not yet independent. So that's the same with clauses. An independent clause can stand on its own. In other words, an independent clause is a complete sentence, whereas a dependent clause is one that depends on something else, primarily an independent clause. They need to be connected, or you need to add information to the dependent clause to turn it into a true sentence, and then it would be an independent clause, or at least it would contain an independent clause. Sentences can have both dependent and independent clauses within them, but it can't be a dependent clause by itself or dependent clauses alone. It has to have at least one independent clause to be a proper sentence. Now you might say, is this not the same as sentence fragments? It's similar, and yes, a dependent clause can be considered a sentence fragment, or an incomplete sentence is probably a better way of thinking about it. But a sentence fragment can also be a subject that doesn't have a predicate, and that is not necessarily a clause at all. It could be a phrase or even just one word, and it could be a predicate which is missing its subject. So again, it might not actually even be a clause. So there are sentence fragments that are not dependent clauses. I'm getting my terms mixed up. The important or the easiest way perhaps when you're proofreading or editing your work is to read your sentences and ask yourself, and you can read them out loud. It's always a good idea to do that anyways, to see any other mistakes that you might have made. But even if you're reading silently, ask yourself the question, if I said this to somebody, does it make sense by itself? Or would he or she be waiting for more information? So if I say, Sally goes camping, that is an independent clause. That is a complete sentence. It makes perfect sense. Sally goes camping. Sally's the subject, goes camping's the predicate, and if I say that, you're not really waiting for something else. Now there may be more to the story, but we don't need any more. We know that Sally goes camping. However, if I said to someone, whenever Sally goes camping, okay, what comes next? What comes after that? So now we have a dependent clause because I've added that word whenever. And that creates a dependent clause. It means that we need more information. And you can often hear that if you read it out loud, or if you're reading to yourself and you're seriously asking, does this make sense by itself? Or we could say, if Sally goes camping. Again, we have a subordinating word there that makes this independent clause into a dependent clause, and we need something more to finish the sentence. So, if Sally goes camping, she will take her sleeping bag. Now we have a complete sentence. It's a complex sentence because it has a dependent clause and then an independent clause, and the name for that kind of sentence is a complex sentence. It doesn't mean it's difficult necessarily, but it's just the name of it. And your independent clause is she will take a sleeping bag. So there you have it. It's an easy way, or a relatively easy way, to check. Now sometimes when your sentences are longer, sometimes a dependent clause can sound like a sentence because it's long enough, it has enough words. But still, if you ask, if I say this to somebody, will he or she be waiting for more, you are usually going to be able to determine whether this is truly an independent or full sentence or not. So do that with your writing, proofread and edit, and this is one thing to watch out for. Make sure that you don't have sentence fragments of any kind because they're not really acceptable, especially in formal writing. If you're writing fiction, they are sometimes used as a method, and of course in poetry it's completely different. But I'm talking primarily about academic or formal writing. You want your sentences to be complete and not incomplete. Check out the blog because there are some written examples there. I didn't do written examples for this video. I just wanted to chat. And I really do think that for many of you, if you ask that question, it's going to weed out any of the sentence fragments or the dependent clauses that need to be turned into complete sentences for you. But check out the blog to see the printed examples. And sometimes I explain it a little differently from the blog to the video and vice versa. In the meantime, have fun writing. Do not be afraid of writing. It's okay if you make mistakes. We all make mistakes, no matter how long you've been doing it. I still make lots of them. The idea is when you're proofreading and editing to weed out as many as you possibly can. And if there's still a few in there, you'll catch it next time when you discover them. So don't worry about it. Keep learning, keep having fun, keep writing, and keep having fun as well. It's Ron from L.T.L Tutoring Central. Don't forget to like the video if you do. I hope you do. Also, click on the subscribe button. That'll help me out, and that will help me help you out even more. And also the notification bell, and then you will be notified when there are new videos coming up. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great week. Bye-bye for now.